Hello, everyone. A question came in today about anchored VWAP, anchored volume weighted price. So I thought I would make a quick video for you to help explain things. So let's hop on over to the charts and let's go through anchored VWAP or anchored volume weighted average price. So let's clean up this chart just a little bit, get some of this other stuff off of here. And you might notice that I left this blue line there. That is the anchored VWAP, and I'll refer to it as anchored VWAP throughout the rest of this. So for those of you that are using TradingView, to get the anchored volume weighted average price or anchored VWAP onto your chart, all you have to do is come over to this button here and click it and put it wherever you like. Now, what exactly is this doing for us? What it's doing is it's telling us how many people own whatever it is that you're looking at that particular price, and it draws it for as long as the chart goes. So if I anchored it here, it's showing me how many people own this stock SRPT up at this on this day from where I put it there. And so it's telling us that, okay, at that point, uh, most people bought and own it at around $163.81. Then, as price progresses over time, so it's taking into account all this now. Now, most people own it at $154.22. That's the average volume weighted average price. So why is this significant? Why do we want to do this? Well, if most people own something at a particular price, then that's something that can tell us that whether there's going to be plenty of overhead supply or not. So, when I was considering this trade, and I was considering it just a few days ago, right? You might have remembered this one for those of you that are on our research program, or for those of you that are in one of our group coaching services. You might have recall that I was looking at this trade right over here. We spotted a resistance level right at around here, right at around 145 bucks, and potential support right below this recent low right there. And we'll draw another line right there to flag that. And that was potential support right at around 136 and a half bucks. So we'll put this over here. And so the price action was starting to tighten up right around the 50-day moving average. And I thought, oh, this might be a good idea. But a couple of things held me off from this trade. Number one was earnings coming up, and earnings was today. And you can see how price responded to earnings. But also, if price were to break out of here, right? So break out, and I would need to risk almost 6%. One of the things that I like to do is look for where are the first layers of resistance likely to be. So I look at price structure, which the first level of price structure is right up here, right at this reversal bar. And it would be 4% away. So the first spot where if price were to break out from here, the first spot where it might get into some trouble is about 4% away. Looking at this, it's a somewhat moderate area of resistance. Price reversed, volume wasn't that heavy. We have other videos that go through this part in more detail, but this area of resistance is not crazy. But when you start to layer in other things on top of it, one of the things that we talk about all the time is looking for layers of confluence. Well, yeah, now you have this anchored VWAP that is coming down and is not too far away from from here. Even if I were to say, okay, there's a level of resistance right at around 150. There's another layer of resistance right at around, what is that, 154. Then it's giving me something to start to think through. Well, I might want to take this trade, or I think that this might break out, but what's my upside? What's my true upside? Not where I think that price is ultimately going to go, but where might price start to stall out, and what are some of the hurdles that it needs to get over? One of the hurdles that it would need to get over isn't just the price structure, but it's also this anchored volume weighted average price, where you have all these people that bought back here loads and loads of volume. And so through time, there's plenty of people that still own it right at above this price, and they're underwater, and they might be eager to get out if price rallies up that way. So that's part of what creates the resistance that I want to be aware of, and knowing that that's there is very, very helpful. So let's talk a little bit about, well, how should we go about placing this anchored VWAP? Where should we place it? I happen to place it right there. Why did I place it there? There's a couple of places where I will place this anchored VWAP. One of them is at the top of the pattern that I'm looking at. So if we're looking at SRPT, I would be placing it there. If we, I don't know, let's bring up VIRT. This is a trade that I'm in right now, and you might notice that I have two anchored VWAPs on here. So I placed it right at earnings. This was really the start of the move over here, but I also placed one up here. So at the top of the pattern, you might also, if I have enough time in the pattern, so maybe a couple of weeks, I might place it at the bottom of the pattern. I don't think that it's appropriate here since it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, but let's just put it there and see. And so, well, it's just giving us an idea of the average price that people own this thing at, where most of the volume is. So how many buyers are at the party at that level? And so you could see from the earnings report and from this recent high, most people are in right at around where price is at right now. And so that's why when price attempted to break out right here, you notice how it found some resistance, right? And it's found resistance for the last couple of days. I just put this anchored VWAP down here. And so you have less time on that anchored VWAP. So it's perhaps a little less significant than this one and this one. But you start to see, well, over the last few days, more people are starting to own it from lower, and there's more people that are starting to come in. How do you put all this stuff together? This is but one indicator. It's a good one. I like it. I use it, obviously, but it's still one indicator. And when it comes to trading, we want to have a few different layers of confluence to help us make our decisions. We don't want to go crazy. We definitely don't want to go crazy. And you certainly can. You can certainly start layering loads and loads and loads of things on top and make it way too complicated. You want to have a handful. You can probably count them on one hand, the types of things on here. For the types of things that I have on my charts, and we'll end this after this. The general price action, right? So price, volume. There's a handful of moving averages on here. The anchored VWAP, and I have the stochastics up here. Not a ton else, right? Relative strength, that's on my chart, and the Fibonacci retracement. So overall, I think that you could point at 7 things on here that are arguably distinct. But you really You really don't need a whole lot, and the simpler that you're able to make things, uh, the better off you end up being. Um, if you have any questions at all on anything that we've discussed here, or if you have different questions, please reach out to me. I'm here to help, and I'll see you in the next video.